And then we'll mix our, this is just a little sugar and a little salt. And so we'll mix it in our flour. And then you just want to mix it up real good. And then we use just regular Crisco shortening. It comes in a blue can. And then I wrote a recipe for it. But in our restaurant, we actually don't use recipes. So I'm just going to eyeball it. And so you just put a little shortening with your flour, sugar, and salt. I think this might all go. Is the water out here?
Or ice water. Thank you.
And then you want to just knead it together real good until you get a cornmeal-like consistency. You don't want any clumps of shortening in it. You just got to mix it together real, real good. I may have too much flour in here. I'm gonna put that in there.
Thank you. I think my first time making crust was probably like maybe 10 years ago or so. Granny used to always make the cobblers and the crust. That was like her thing at the restaurant. She never really let anyone else do it, and we got to a point to where we had to start doing more stuff at the restaurant. And so I think Dad actually taught me how to make crust, and it was like it can be very finicky if you're not like very familiar with the Crisco shortening and the flour. And it took many tries and many cobblers with gross crust on it to get to where I needed to be. I think Tashawn does it a little better than I do. Glory, sorry.
So we have this thing at the restaurant where we go back and forth since we don't use recipes, where some people's crust resembles pizza dough, and you don't want your crust to resemble pizza dough. You want your crust to be real flaky. And so that's what we really shoot for. It's more pizza dough-like if you don't have enough shortening in there. So you have to have a good amount of shortening. But this is about how it should look. And then you'll just add your ice water to it until you make dough balls. So you can do it all together. But I like to split it up and do a little bit at a time. That's how my grandmother would do it. She'll just pull a little bit of it to the side until she gets the consistency that she wants.
Granny's like little thing that she always said was don't play with it too much because it'll make it tough. And I didn't really understand that until I played with it too much and got tough crust. We usually do about 2 to 3 cobblers a day. We try to incorporate some other desserts throughout the week. So we usually probably make crust. We make it early in the mornings. We make enough to probably cover 3 cobblers, and then we just go from there. I think our cobblers at the restaurant, I think we get about like 14 servings out of each one. And so we usually sell out pretty fast. I think we probably, for like the last couple of weeks, I think we've been out of cobbler by like 4 p.m.
I think we can actually roll that one out. I'm going to roll that one.
Oh, I need that. I'm going to start rolling our crust out here to cover the cobbler. One of Granny's things that she always told us was thin crust. Like she said never put it on the cobbler too thick. And we just roll it out on the countertops, nothing fancy.
I guess I forgot to mention that we don't use a bottom crust with our peach cobbler. So some peach cobblers or peach pies, you have a bottom crust on it, but we don't do that. I don't know why. I think Granny doesn't do that because the way it cooks sometimes, the way the cobbler cooks in the oven, she just skips the bottom crust. But we try to do 2 layers across the top to make up for that.
Yeah, I think crust is like the best part. I think when I'm in the kitchen, there are several notes on the tickets that are like, crusty cobbler, crusty cobbler. At Granny's restaurant, she has a cobbler bar, and so she just puts the cobbler out there, and you're able to just grab cobbler. And I know there's been many days where she'll just come back and like scrape the peaches out and put more crust on there and send another one back out, because usually the crust is what goes first. You finished?
Huh?
What did you finish?
Yeah.
I think I got it pretty thin. And like she said, we all do this kind of differently, so I get lazy with mine, and I just like throw a big layer on there, and then I make the lattice strips on top. And that's about as thin as I get.
Sometimes if we're trying to be real fancy for a catering, we'll pinch the sides of it. But at the restaurant, we just keep it real simple since nobody
Sees it. We used to make it pretty all the time, and our dad kind of pointed that out one day. He was like, "Why are you making it so pretty? Nobody ever sees it." And so we quit focusing on the pretty, I guess. I got it there.
Another thing that we don't do that I've noticed a lot with peach cobblers is people put an egg wash across the top of the crust, but we actually don't do that. I think since we put enough shortening in it, that it goes ahead and it browns for us. So we don't use an egg wash or drizzle any butter across the top or anything.
I think I might. And I just go diagonal this way first, and then I just come back across the top.
And one thing when you put your strips out, you can't have them too close together or your juice will bubble up in between it and it'll just come all across the top. But Granny says to put it a little close together so you can make sure you get enough crust on there. And it doesn't take real long to cook either. The filling cooks while you're browning the crust, so it normally takes I start about 20 minutes. Sometimes at the restaurant it might take about 35, but you're just trying to get your crust brown enough to your liking.
Yeah.
And here's your sugar.
Then we just come, after we're done, we just add a little sugar on top. Even though there's sugar in the crust, the sugar just, to me, gives it a nice pizzazz. One of the things Granny does, my Granny and Daddy have this little thing where my dad doesn't like to do things like Granny does. So he puts cinnamon on top of his, but they're fine either way. And then we just go in the oven.
Actually, this morning my dad said, "Are you going to put the cinnamon across the top?" And I said, "Well, Granny says no because it makes the cobbler ugly." So we're doing it Granny's way today.
Yeah, we just went a Granny style. I think that rack may be a little too high. I think the rack may be too high. Yeah. Lower, maybe. So that's our cobbler. The The filling to me is probably the easiest part. Like I said, just the crust is very, finicky if it's not something you're used to doing. It took me a long, long time to make it, and I've even tried to show other family members how to make it, like my mother-in-law, and she still asked me to bring the cobbler at Thanksgiving dinner still to this day. So she still hasn't been able to master it. Yeah, just once again in the filling, it's we usually do we make big ones, so I guess if we cut it in half for probably like home size, you probably do about 2 cups of butter. And when I do it at home, we do real butter. I think at the restaurant we do Country Crock. The real butter just gives it a little bit more of a little flair to me. And I like salted butter personally. I prefer to use salted butter in just about everything. So I'll do about 2 cups of salted butter. 2 cups of just real pure cane sugar, and then maybe about a tablespoon and a half.
Yeah, you can use a tablespoon of nutmeg. Well, let me see. That's for the big one. So a half a tablespoon of nutmeg, and then a fourth of a tablespoon of cinnamon. Yeah, and you just mix it all together. And we don't use the fresh peaches. We use the canned peaches because they have the heavy syrup, which makes it really good. So you don't have to like cook the peaches to make your own syrup. Nope, we just dump it all in a bowl.
Yeah,
and mix your
we
butter,
don't
your
drain the
spices.
peaches.
Yeah, you got to keep the syrup. That's what's
Yeah,
gonna
that's
make
like
it
the
juicier.
most important part.
And then if you got to put a little flour in there, because if you miss the flour inside of the filling, it'll make your filling will just be really runny, like water-like. So you put a little flour in there just to give it a good consistency, a little thinner than gravy.
Yeah. Any more questions?
Since 1974. The location that we're at now has been there since 2016, but my grandmother has had a Wanda J's in the Tulsa community since 1974.
Yeah, we were born and raised in restaurant business. I think we actually didn't get a choice. Like, we spent most of our summers washing dishes. That's where we started off at, washing dishes. We got to do, like, some catering things. We would be responsible for, like, cutting the fruit and the veggies or loading everything on the truck. That was probably like my least favorite part of the catering, putting everything in the hot boxes. And we've just slowly progressed. I think me and Glory, I call her Tyshawn, sorry, because that's like our sister name. And so Glory, we went, I think we did like one of our first big caterings together at the restaurant. We got to drive the catering van. I think I was probably like maybe 23, and the catering van is a big van, and we were so scared to be by ourselves because we never drove before with all the products in there. But we didn't have a choice when it came to restaurant. We were told to do. We got up in the summertime, and we were like, free labor. So not really free labor, but they paid us, pretty not as well as all the other people, but we got money at the end of the summer to buy all of our school clothes and things like that.
What's the other favorite at the restaurant that people
Fried chicken.
Yeah.
We serve a ton of fried chicken. We go through cases of chicken in a day. That would have been pretty messy to demonstrate, but that's one of our top sellers is our fried chicken.
And even with the chicken, it's still we try to keep all of our recipes as simple as possible. I know Granny at her restaurant, she does salt and pepper. And of course, because my dad had to be different, he does seasoning salt and pepper. But either way is fine. I think the salt and pepper is a very classic taste compared to the seasoning salt. But either way is, very good. We sell a lot of candy yams. That's our most popular side. We still, to this day, peel and cut yams by hand. We don't have a machine, or I guess Nisi's our machine. But we don't have a machine to peel and cut yams. We do it day in and day out. I think we actually sell about half a case of yams a day. Yeah, so.
And you form these nice little blisters on your fingers from peeling so many throughout the day.
Yeah. Mac and cheese. We sell a lot of mac and cheese. Like in our community, baked mac and cheese is a really big deal. But we don't actually bake our mac and cheese. We just do just a cheese mix, with the bowl of the noodles. Once again, very easy seasoning, salt, and actually that's all we use is salt and butter.
And margarine.
And cheese. We use a Kojak mixture cheese.
Oh, our fried cabbage is really popular. I don't know if y'all are familiar with fried cabbage, but we cut up our cabbage. Sometimes we might add a little bell pepper, but we cook it on a flat top grill with vegetable oil and margarine or butter, and that's a top seller at the restaurant. And we broke away from the traditional style of boiling it.
Yeah. When I cook cabbage at home, I like to put like bacon grease in mine. But at the restaurant, we try to keep some sides pork free. And so the collard greens are made with usually either like smoked jowl, or ham hock. Greens are also really popular. Our personal faves are the mustard greens, but we alternate between the mustard greens and the collard greens.
Really, because of COVID, our supplier, they only get like a limited amount of mustard greens. I guess those probably really are the best greens because we only get so many of them, but we sell out of all of our greens at the restaurant.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, we make cornbread. Our cornbread is made in-house. We don't put jalapenos or anything in it. You just use flour, sugar, vegetable oil, and then, of course, the cornmeal. And that's really a top seller.
Yeah.
And then we make yeast rolls. We sell the yeast rolls. Sometimes people come and order, like a lot of people from out of town when it's their first time. We've had a few people like, can I get a half a dozen of those to take back home with me?
Yeah.
So those are real popular too.
Our restaurant is in like a high, tourist place here in the city of Tulsa, being on Greenwood. And so we attract a lot of people that come to see Black Wall Street. So sometimes we meet people from all over and they've never, experienced the food that we have at the restaurant. And so just even like the sweet tea, people always ask to buy the sweet tea by the gallon. That would be so much work if we did that. But I think our sweet tea is one of our our popular drinks as well. Our most popular drink outside of soda. But we sell a lot of sweet tea and the catfish. We do a very simple cornmeal mixture on the catfish and no fancy milk wash or battering or anything like that. Actually, we don't milk wash anything. I think we only milk wash the pork chops. Everything else is just battered and deep fried. Everything is cooked to order, so your food doesn't go in the grease until you make it. Your eggs don't go on the grill until you order them. Your food isn't put in the window till your chicken's done. I mean, nothing's sitting around, just, not like some of the other restaurants where it's just all sitting in warmers. Everything is cooked as soon as you order it.
We hand batter our chicken fried steaks and chicken fried chickens. We do that a little differently than we do our fried chicken. We actually do use the egg wash or the milk wash for that, and we dip it a few times until we get like the perfect crust. But we batter that all to order as well.
Are you hungry yet? As I am.
So you
Just
can't come
about
to our restaurant and expect to get your food in 15 minutes. It takes you on a busy day, no more than about 30 minutes. We do breakfast too. We make home fries, the fried potatoes with the grilled onions. We sell a ton of those for breakfast and dinner.
We shred our hash browns with the hash brown shredder. What else?
Make our own French toast mix.
Yeah.
We use the Texas toast, dip it in our French toast mix batter.
Yeah. Any more questions? We know how to make just about everything, but so anything, if you have a question or if you've seen it done a different way or you want to ask us how we kind of do it, that would be good. Yeah, we have biscuits. That's one of Granny's things, though. Granny has, certain things that, she does, and the biscuits and the rolls are, strictly her thing. And I think only 3 people know how to make her biscuits and rolls. And that's one thing we just have. I know I haven't learned yet. I think Tyshawn's watched a few times and has learned, but I have not. I haven't seen the biscuits or rolls yet.
They're messy.
Yeah.
They the bowl, it rises all out of the bowl if you don't catch it. So our restaurant is a really quaint space. Like Terry mentioned, we can cook a ton of things. It's just since we have such a small space, we've restricted our menu, it's scaled way down. But we do cater, and so our catering is when we get to branch outside of the box.
Yeah.
Since we're so busy, I'm fine with where we're at right now, and we do have 3 locations, but in the future, I like a really big restaurant. We've had a location before that's really big, and then Evelyn's Restaurant, which is another one of the family businesses, they're real big, but for us girls and my parents, I think where we're at right now keeps us busy enough.
Yeah, and for me personally, I really like just the customer service part. We're real big on remembering everybody's names, remembering orders if you eat multiple times. We cater birthday parties. We did a 2-year-old's birthday party not too long ago. I mean, he came and ate the mac and cheese and chicken, and he wanted our food there, and he wanted us there. And so we really like the personal relationships that we build with people. And I feel like the bigger you go, the more you lose that. And you have to really try to train people, how important that is. And we've had servers in and out, and it's just not the same, us waiting tables versus other people. And I mean, other people are fine, in those areas, but we really like to be able to get to know our customers and their families and remember names and remember orders.
I think we forgot to mention that at the restaurants, it's all family that works. So everybody is a cousin, an aunt, an uncle, a sibling.
Yeah.
We're all related.
Yeah, I had a guy call us yesterday from the New York Magazine, and he was like, "Who is this person?" I was like, "Our cousin," and "Who's this person?" "Our aunt," and "Who's this person?" "My sister," and "Who's this person?" "My mom." And he was going down the list of names of people that were working that day, and he had pictures of, and everyone is related in some kind of way. And if you aren't directly related, you're still a cousin probably anyway because you've known us for 40, 30 years. Or my granny raised your mom, or your mom raised my dad, or something like that. And it feels like the whole city of Tulsa knows us. I mean, they come in, people see us, at the mall, and they're like, "I know your dad. I used to babysit him," just looking at me. And and everyone wants to know when we go to birthday parties, are you bringing food? Are you bringing chicken? Are you bringing anything? And now I've gotten to a point to where I personally don't even buy chicken for my house because I sell and see so much chicken at work. Anything else? Maybe we should check on our cobbler and see how they're going. Do we have oven mitts nearby? Oh.
No, right here. I'm going to get them all dirty.
Oh, my hands are covered in crust. Oh, here's our finished cobbler. Ooh. Her Do we have spoons? Do people get to taste? Does anybody want to taste? Yeah, yeah. Well, I want to share cobbler if you guys want to eat cobbler. Do we have some? Oh. Let me have a. Will you give me one of those big spoons?
Yeah. That one right there. Yeah. There you go.
I wonder. Oops. I want to make sure they get some crust.
That's probably good. I'm going to get a paper towel to wipe this out of it off.
Oops.
Granny would not have that.
Granny is real big on plate presentation, and so every plate that comes out the window, she wants us to wipe it off and make sure it's pretty. When we do the yams, we peel out all the like the brown and the yams that look very odd, or sometimes when they cook a little lighter, and we're always sure to pick out all of those yams. There you go. He's the first one. He was super excited. I seen it all over his face.
You have to give us your honest opinion, too.
Yeah, that's what we really look forward to. Good? Do we do good? Anybody else? Yeah, sure. We actually, me and her actually go through each week and read all of the reviews on Facebook. That's one of the other, so many places nowadays are hiring out, and, there's social media ambassadors and things like that. But we look forward to doing all of our own stuff just so we can see what we want to improve on and where we can get better. Right now, I think we see a lot of stuff about bigger space, but like we said, we're very satisfied with our smaller space. This is what we can handle right now, and we do good in that restaurant space. So, oh, thank you.
I guess I'm moving too slow.
Wrap it up.
Thank you.
Let's give these ladies a big hand, please.
Thank you.
Did a great job. Also remember at 2:30 you got Chance Cosby's going to be here. He's a big TikToker and got a lot of following, and he's going to be doing some tacos as well. So stick around, and we're going to thank these two ladies again.